Okay? This takes seconds. And if you don't believe me, I'll show you some numbers. That's what this slide is. So we did a track care benchmark, and we have a utility called Web Stress, which is now available in the product. So if you have a web application, you should look into this. This is a benchmarking tool that we created that allows you to capture web traffic for your application and then replay it on the server to generate load. Okay, it's like a load generator that we created. And it does a few other things too. But essentially, we use Web Stress to simulate realistic healthcare transactions. Admit a patient, perform a surgery, discharge a patient, move a patient, etc. And in this particular benchmark, what we did was we had the 2 failover members, and we had many application servers, ECP application servers. So in the first case, we had 3,400 concurrent users connected across 2 app servers that were connected to the mirror. And we failed the primary system. We forced it down. Just C control force, as in kill, bye-bye, go away, right? The applications resumed processing in 11 seconds. So MTTR is mean time to recovery for the application. 11 seconds. In 11 seconds, the applications continued processing. They didn't lose a single transaction. It just was an 11-second pause. So imagine you're a user, and you hit the save button, and it's just the wheel going around, and you're like, slow, let me go get some tea. And you come back, oh, it's done, right? It's all done. It's 11 seconds. We tried a more sophisticated configuration where we simulated 2 data centers. So the first failover member was in one data center, the other one was in the other. We had 4 app servers. 2 of them were in the first data center, 2 of them were in the second. And we failed the whole first data center. We just shut off power to it completely. Yeah? So in this particular case, it took about 47 seconds, 46, 47 seconds for the remaining 2 app servers to reconnect and start working on the new primary. The reason it took this long was because A, there were 10,200 users spread over 4 app servers. B, 2 of those app servers are dead, so the primary now needs to do rollback and clean up for those 2 app servers that were dead. So that's why it took 47 seconds as compared to the 11 seconds in the first case. But that still is pretty awesome. You compare that to an OS failover cluster, can't touch it. And then we did a single server test where there was no ACP, again to demonstrate that yes, it takes about 12, 14, 16 seconds to recover. So it's very fast. And then the last feature was, or the last benefit was easier maintenance. So one of the things that we're working on this year is to come up with ways to help you do an upgrade with minimal downtime. Okay? Robert keeps calling it 0 downtime. I say no, minimal downtime. So one way for you to achieve that is to have a configuration that has a mirror and has app servers, ECP app servers. And then we have a list of best practice recommendations for you. And if you follow those, you can really achieve minimal downtime upgrades. So we're using this platform and this framework as a good baseline for people deploying new systems that may want to consider having a minimal downtime upgrade approach. And there will be more details on this on our website later. Okay, mirroring also provides for an asynchronous member concept, which is for disaster recovery. And in this particular picture, my mirror, so my HA, my failover mirror, is located in my data center in New York. And I have 6 asynchronous members spread around all over the US. And what this allows me to do is it allows me to have a lot of redundancy that in case my entire east coast of the US falls off into the ocean, I still have copies of my data spread across the rest of the country. This is one way to use asynchronous mirroring. Another way to use asynchronous mirroring is to use it as sort of a data warehouse, use it as a concentrator or collector of data. So if you have multiple cache systems running, and these systems have different data, maybe different data from different customers or different data from different applications, doesn't matter. But you want to look at all of the data together and you want to do some modeling. you can use an async member to pull together all of that data into one system and then analyze it. So that's another really good use case for async mirroring. Okay, there's a couple of new features coming in 2012.2. Since we're in field test 4, hopefully you will try field test 4 soon if you haven't already tried one of the versions. The two most exciting features around this are specifically around making it easier for you to have disaster recovery processes in place. So what does that mean? So let me talk about the second one first. In a true disaster, your failover cluster, your 2 members are dead. They're gone. Your data center caught fire, flooded, whatever. You have a disaster recovery async member somewhere else that's still alive, and it's got your data, and it's mostly up to date. You want to bring your users back online as quickly as possible. So this feature, which we call switch over, switch back, or push button, or it's called many different things, essentially allows you to, with a single click, take your disaster recovery environment and turn it into your main production environment. It's a very complicated process behind the scenes because we have to make sure that the data is consistent. We have to make sure that the other system doesn't come up and decide that it wants to become the primary, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of complicated things that we do in the background. But essentially, this allows you to simplify your operational procedures a great deal by saying, okay, if I have a disaster, I don't have to sit down and do these 55 steps before I can allow my users to connect. I can do this one thing and go through the list very quickly, and my users can connect. And then the first point up there is we allow now better control for you on determining the type of the asynchronous mirror member. So the async member can be one of 3 types. Actually, it's just 2 types. One of 2 types. One is it could be a disaster recovery member, in which case you're doing all of your business continuity and disaster recovery planning based on this member having your data. So in a disaster recovery async member, all of the mirror databases are read-only. Right? You don't want them to be read-write. You don't want to go in and change any of the data. You can't change that. So if you classify an async member as a DR async member, data is read-only. But you can switch it to a reporting async member, in which case you can decide, okay, I want to go in and I want to change some data, or I want to create some new indexes, or I want to do whatever I want to do. And if I change the data, oh well, that's fine. Okay? So you have control over that as well. Another feature that's coming in the future, and this may or may not be relevant to you, there's actually exactly one customer who this is very, very relevant for, and they're based in the US. But essentially, it's a pretty cool thing where we have a cascading feature that we're developing called Relay, which allows you to chain together multiple asynchronous members as you wish. Okay? And this one might be more relevant to you. We're introducing record-based filtering in mirroring in the coming version. So you can basically say, okay, I have 4 mirror databases. That async member over there only cares about mining the data for database A, so I'll just send that database up there. And then I want to build some indexes based on the data that's coming in so I can implement a filter. So there's some pretty neat stuff that you can do there. So a little note on shadowing. You're all familiar with shadowing. Shadowing is going to be there. We will continue to support it. We will continue to fix bugs. The thing for you to remember is that there's not been any new innovation. It's been feature frozen since 2011.1. And we're putting in all of our energy in making asynchronous mirroring be a fully functional, very, very good, very reliable asynchronous replication technology. So if you use shadowing, my recommendation to you would be to start investigating using mirroring and then transition to that, because you'll take advantage of a lot of the stuff that we're putting in over the years. Okay, a little list which keeps getting bigger and bigger, which makes me very happy, of the customers that are live with mirroring. You'll see that the Ensemble HealthShare Foundation guys are beating the Cache guys right now. So I need to go back in the US and ask the guys what's going on. But anyway, so there's a lot of customers, and you know, every week I hear of at least 1 or 2 customers that are looking at deploying mirroring, that are ready to deploy mirroring, and getting close, etc. So soon I'm going to need more than 1 slide to show how many people are live with mirroring. Next year, when I come back, there'll be many, many, many more. There's a very long list of customers evaluating mirroring at the moment as well. And a lot of these are very close to deploying